Only spouses and children can attend the company's founding party. If you come with your mother, go home. My boss, Harada, started laughing as soon as he saw me. And he started making fun of the beauty of my wife, who is 15 years older than me. You're Yamazaki's mother, right? Her hair is messy and she hasn't put on makeup in 6 days. Miho is my wife. How many times do I have to tell you? I raised my voice. The surroundings were quiet, and I felt the pain of many eyes focused on us. As I left the venue with my anger still not subsiding, I immediately received a phone call. Where are you now? Come back quickly. A familiar voice came from behind Harada, who was anxious and rebellious. My name is Shohei Yamazaki. I am currently 30 years old. I am a medical equipment engineer. I work hard every day, taking in new information so that I can work for this company for a long time. Although I don't have any children, I am happy to live a fulfilling life with my wife, Miho. There is a reason why I care about Miho. It is because I lost my real parents in an accident caused by delinquents when I was in the 4th grade of elementary school. Therefore, I don't want to lose my family again, so I feel that I care about her more than anyone else. I was a child who was suddenly born illegally, and I could only feel shocked and sad, but my grandfather took me in and raised me after my relatives died. He immediately let me live in his house and took care of me in various ways. However, I had a pure personality since I was a child, and after my parents passed away, I started crying even more easily. Then the children around me found it amusing and teased me and tried to make me cry on purpose. When I finally couldn't go to school, my grandfather took time off work to go to the elementary school and talk to the principal and homeroom teacher. After my grandfather's firm lecture, the children were also instructed, and I was finally able to go to school with peace of mind. Thank you, Grandpa. When I said thank you in a small voice, my grandfather smiled gently and asked me if I wanted to try karate. I'm not forcing you to do it, but it's good to train yourself to be strong. If your body is strong, your mind will be strong too. How about it? Let's try it. My grandfather encouraged me to do karate not so that I would be better at fighting, but with the hope that I would grow mentally. I also thought that I couldn't continue to be teased like this for the rest of my life, and I understood that I couldn't rely on my grandfather forever. So I just joined the club and practiced every day, and before I knew it, by the time I entered high school, I had been entrusted with the role of head of the karate club. When there was a practice match, my grandfather would come to cheer me on in between his busy work. And when I won the regional tournament, he clapped his hands in joy, which is a good memory. My grandfather seemed to work busier than anyone else. I will never be able to look my grandfather in the eye, as he always came to my school events and karate matches despite his busy schedule. Before I knew it, my grandfather had become the person I respected the most in the world. There was another person who supported me as much as my grandfather did. That person lived near my grandfather's house. It was his wife, Miho. Miho was 15 years older than me, and was already a working adult when I first met her. She had a caring personality, and when I was crying as an elementary school student, she would often pat my head and encourage me. Maybe she would find it funny and tease me even more if I was crying. but I think Shohei's kind personality is a good thing, so let's change our attitude. Miho comforts me when I'm weak, and finds good things in me and praises me. I was happy that Miho was always worried about me. However, after a while of living like that, Miho left for a distant foreign country for her own reasons. This is because Miho decided to join an organization that provides overseas support, mainly for development and developing countries. Miho's first deployment was to Central Africa. Currently, there is a shortage of vaccines for electric wire disease, and many people are in 10 seconds even for diseases that would be treated immediately at a hospital in Japan. The medical team's mission is to get the residents to receive preventive vaccinations in the center of the town. In her letters to me, Miho wrote me about her daily life. The road conditions in that country are unpredictable, and it seems that temperature control is often not possible when trying to transport the vaccine. Even if the vaccine is finally delivered, it can be ruined due to the unstable electricity supply in the city, and she also says that she can't speak English and sometimes it seems like an argument is about to break out when communicating with the local driver. However, she wrote to Miho that when she manages to complete the mission, she is filled with a sense of accomplishment and happiness. As I learned about the daily life of the doctors and staff she works with, as well as the local people and patients, I came to respect Miho's work more and more. And her hard work motivated me to study hard. Miho also had a big influence on me becoming a medical equipment engineer. I wanted to contribute to the medical world like her, so I joined a medical equipment company. Then, when Miho returned to Japan after working overseas, I confessed to her. It seems that Miho had somehow sensed my feelings while exchanging letters for years. We naturally started eating together, and we started dating. I had never dated a woman before, so I was worried about whether I could get along with her, but Miho seemed to be worried about the age difference. I don't care about the age difference, and I've always admired Miho since I was a child. I can't imagine spending my time with anyone other than Miho. Please marry me. Whenever I told her that, Miho smiled happily and said, "I'm happy to be dating Shohei." She was happy and said, "If you're okay with me, let's get married." After 3 years of continuing to express my feelings, we finally got married. I was able to marry my beloved Miho, but my boss, Harada Yamato, always teases me about our relationship. Harada is younger than me, but he has a girlfriend in the upper echelons of the company and has become a section manager. And he often makes fun of the fact that Miho is 15 years older than me, and whenever we talk, he insults Miho to get a laugh. It was shortly after we met that Harada started to interfere with Miho. That day, most of the employees had gathered for Harada, who had been transferred to the company as a section manager, to welcome him. At first, I thought Harada was a young man with good kanji, but he gradually got drunker and started to act suspiciously, and his suspicions were finally directed at me, his subordinate. "Yamazaki, you said you were married, right? Let me see a picture of your wife." "It's fine, but she's not a model-class beauty like Harada's wife, so please don't work her out." I made that preface because Harada, after getting drunk, repeatedly boasted about how beautiful his wife was, whom he had just married. He had been bragging about how beautiful his wife was, saying things like she won the beauty contest at his alma mater, that she was a reader model, and that I'd rather go home and see my wife than be at a drinking party with all these guys, so I went along with Harada and answered him in the same way. But when I showed him a picture of her beauty, Harada nearly spit out his drink as he laughed. "This is your wife. She's tanned and dark. And she's more like an old lady than a wife. Isn't she about the same age as my parents?" Harada said, and started passing around my photo to other people without permission. "This is Yamazaki's mother. She's tanned black." I started laughing at Miho and laughing at her, saying that you're amazing. Miho certainly gets tan from being exposed to UV rays because she often goes out with local people. She doesn't wear sunscreen every day like women living in Japan, and I don't think there's anything embarrassing about having a healthy skin tone and age-appropriate skin. However, I felt bad when they made fun of Miho's appearance. The employees who were shown the photo looked at me with affectionate smiles, glancing at me as if they were worried about me. I guess they can't say anything harsh to Harada, who will be my boss in the future. I felt irritated towards Harada, but I was filled with regret for making the other employees feel uncomfortable. From that day on, Harada would always talk about how to make Miho a horse whenever he met me. As soon as I met him at work, Harada spoke to me with a grin. "Good morning. It's fine to come to work early today." "Oh, I see. I guess it's pretty uncomfortable in a house where your wife is like an older mother." I was so worried about what to say to her that I was at a loss as to what to say. Then, seeing my troubled face, Harada started laughing even more happily. "I understand that you don't mind being at home. But even if you don't mind meeting your wife at home, don't work overtime for nothing." Saying that, Harada laughed out loud and left the place. Because of that, by the time I got to my desk, my work was worthwhile, but Harada completely took away my motivation. Every time Harada called out to me at work, I felt depressed. One day, while I was working on my own task, I was told that Harada was calling me. I went to Harada wondering what was going on, and he had a ghostly grin on his face. His appearance only gave me a bad feeling. From now on, I've decided to decorate my desk at work with a picture of my family. Saying that, Harada handed me a photo. It shows a young, beautiful woman and her baby smiling and snuggling up to each other. It's my wife and child. I thought I'd put it up because it was a beautiful photo. This is manager Harada's wife and child, isn't it? They're beautiful. Their child is also cute and looks like he's about to take off. As Harada is bragging, I can't say it aloud, but she's too beautiful for Harada. When I said, "My father," Harada crossed his arms proudly. "I think so. You can put it on your desk if you like." Huh? Why do I have to put Harada's family photo on my desk? I didn't understand what Harada wanted to say, so I gave an ambiguous reply, and he said something unbelievable with a malicious smile. "Even if you imitate me and put a photo on your desk, you won't be motivated to work if you look at the face of your older wife. You can put my beautiful wife on your desk to increase your work efficiency and motivate yourself." I had never been so angry at Harada's remarks as I was at that time. "Manager Harada, please excuse me, but could you take back what you just said?" "No, I didn't say anything strange. Looking at a young beautiful woman is more eye-opening than a wrinkled old woman. I shouldn't have married an older woman. My hands tremble with anger at Harada's attitude of insulting me and Miho. I'm not sure I can control my anger if I look at Harada's face anymore. I force my small body to move and return to my desk without opening my mouth anymore. But his persistent sarcasm doesn't stop. No matter how much I try to distance myself from Harada, he talks to me and throws insulting words at me and Miho. The nearby employees look at me with pity, but no one can openly express their opinions to Harada. If I tell Harada, who has someone behind him in the upper echelons of the company, I'm sure he thinks he could be the next target and doesn't say anything. From that day on, I devoted myself to my work as if to escape from Hita's abusive words. However, I was painfully aware of the pain of my workplace, which I had loved so much, gradually becoming an uncomfortable place. Harada's harassment continued after that, but I somehow acquired the skill to ignore his nasty remarks. If I made an effort not to pay attention to him, the irritation I felt towards Harada, who would bother me before training or during breaks, became much less severe. In this way, I gradually regained my peace of mind, but Harada seemed to be not amused by it. One day, Harada asked me about the company's founding party. It's the company's founding party next weekend, and Yamazaki's wife will be there too. The party commemorating the 50th anniversary of the company's founding will be a grand one because it will also serve as a promotion for the new president. Therefore, it was okay to bring your spouse and children. I like this company and I intend to spare no effort to continue to make efforts to steadily increase the company's performance, but if you ask me if I will bring MI, that's a different story. Even if I remember our interactions so far, it will be even more so if Harada is attending. Harada was probably just curious when he asked me if Miho was coming. And if he actually met Miho, he would surely say hurtful things to her directly. I didn't want to take my precious Miho to such a place. I'm planning to attend alone. I'll let my wife relax at home. So, you say you love your wife so much, but you can't show her in public? You always say arrogant things, but in the end, you feel inferior, so you can't introduce your wife to us. Harada's words make my heart waver. If your partner is really important to you, at least listen to her opinion. I understand. I'll talk to my wife about it. When I got home and told Miho about the founding party, she was happy. I'll definitely go with Shohei. I'm really happy to have such an opportunity. Seeing Miho looking happy and positive makes me feel better, and I'm glad I told her. We decided to attend as a couple and we're looking forward to the day. The day of the founding party. I rented a nice dress for Miho and got ready. It was a nice dress that suited her style, but her hair and skin were still a little rough from living abroad for many years. Therefore, I simply did a hairstyle and makeup and headed to the venue at a luxury hotel. Since it was the 50th anniversary, the venue was decorated with gorgeous flowers and there were quite a few guests. Miho was acting confidently, but for some reason she gradually started to worry about her surroundings. Is there something strange about my outfit? I feel like people are looking at me from the front. That's not true. Miho is very beautiful. Miho looked happy when I said that, but she still seemed to be a little late. At that moment, a familiar voice rang from behind me and I started to flinch. Yamazaki, you're here? Let me introduce you. This is my wife Mo. She's beautiful, isn't she? Harada's wife Mo is a magazine model and was the most beautiful person in the venue. After the greeting, I also introduced Miho. I'm always grateful to Section Chief Harada. This is my wife Miho. You're Yamazaki's mother, right? Harada came out and spoke, as if to cut me off. He spoke loudly on purpose, so the other employees around him started to pay attention. No, it's my wife, Miho. I told manager Harada before. I emphasized it lightly, but Harada spoke more firmly, and he didn't like my resistance, so he hit me and said something outrageous. So it was your wife. I'm sorry. I couldn't believe that someone in their 50s was your wife, so I made a mistake. I was so scared of how I said it that Miho stood there. I put my hand on Miho's back, wanting to leave the place immediately, but Harada spoke again before I could. Even so, her hair was messy and she didn't wear much makeup. Isn't she an old woman at heart? It's no wonder she mistook me for her mother. Miho finally covered her face and looked down at his words. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I took Miho's arm and left the place. But Harada didn't allow me to escape and said even louder. This party is only open to spouses and children. If you come with your mother, go home. Miho is my wife. How many times do I have to tell you? I raised my voice. The surroundings quieted down, and I felt painfully many eyes focused on us. I was aware that I was breathing heavily as I was doing my best to suppress my anger. Miho was also unable to raise her head, her eyes red with embarrassment and her pride was hurt. At first, Harada was speechless when I vented my anger to him. But soon his face turned red with anger and he started to attack me in a low voice. Who are you talking to when you're just a subordinate? I owe my back to the company. If you have a problem with me, leave this place. I don't want to stay in such a bad place for even a second without being told. Excuse me. I turned my back on the venue, still angry. Miho couldn't bear to see me leave and started laughing out loud. But I supported her back and left the place without even turning around. I should laugh as much as I could while I could. I'll soon be unable to laugh. I urged her to go to the hotel lounge and drink coffee, and finally I felt more at ease. Savoring the sweet aroma of warm coffee, I bowed to Miho. I'm sorry for making you feel bad. I shouldn't have gotten into a relationship with such a boss. Shohei, it's not your fault. I was the one who said I wanted to go. I rubbed my red eyes while holding back the urge to go. At that moment, my cell phone started ringing. I answered the phone thinking that this was expected, and as expected, I heard a loud voice in a panic. Where are you now? Come back quickly. And behind him, a familiar voice was speaking to him. So what does this mean? Where is the new president? If this continues, the founding party won't start. Well, Mr. Chairman, there was a slight mistake, and in fact, the chairman of our company is my grandfather. And the current president who was supposed to be unveiled at today's establishment party is me. Originally, this company was founded by my grandfather and my parents were the presidents, but one day they were hit by bad luck. So my grandfather became the president and prefectural president and has been directing the management up until now. It is a fact that only a limited number of people in the upper echelons of the company know, and I didn't want people to think that I joined the company as a kid, so I kept it a secret until now. And since I joined the company, I have been working hard, gaining knowledge and experience, and it was judged that I have grown sufficiently. And today has come when I was told to become the current president. On the other end of the phone, Harada is still making excuses in a scream-like voice. Meanwhile, I have a new message from my grandfather on my cell phone. Following his instructions to return to the venue immediately, I decided to take Miho back to the venue where I had just left. Inside, Harada was trembling as he was glared at by his grandfather. Did he say Harada? It seems that you have said a lot about your grandson's precious spouse. It was just a slight misunderstanding and a man communicating with me. That's right, Yamazaki-kun. As soon as I appeared on the scene, Harada gave me a fawning smile as if asking for help. We have this kind of conversation all the time, don't we? You should tell the chairman that too. It's true that manager Harada always talks about things like that. Hearing my reply, Harada relaxed his shoulders as if he was relieved. But as he listened to what I continued to say, his face quickly turned pale. However, words and actions that hurt my wife's beauty are not acceptable at all. Manager Harada's words and actions have always made me feel bad. If you ask other employees, you'll understand. When I said it firmly, Harada complained to me with sweat dripping from his forehead. Hey, what are you talking about all of a sudden? It's just a stupid joke between men. Don't be so arrogant. For a while, my grandfather listened silently to Harada's excuses, but finally shook his head slowly from side to side. You don't seem to know how to communicate properly. It's a compliance issue to have such a person in a managerial position. As a company, we can't overlook this. The beasts who had gathered nearby exchanged glances at my grandfather's remarks and began to discuss noisily. Seeing this, Harada repeated his name in a panic. I'm sorry if I've made you feel better. I just said what I thought and didn't mean any harm. If you didn't mean any harm, then those words are your true feelings, don't they? I can't trust such a person even more. After being told by his grandfather, Harada finally collapsed. Even so, it was Harada's wife Mo who spoke to Harada, who was still trying to make an excuse and muttering. Don't say any more. I'm really disappointed in you. Mo's unexpected counterattack made Harada stare at his wife's face with his mouth open. But Mo, with anger on her pretty face, began to scold her harshly. What right do you have to treat your woman like a horse? You don't know how she feels when she's told something nasty. Why are you angry? You're a beautiful and cute wife that I'm proud of. Harada is trying to please his wife, but that only adds fuel to her anger. You always compliment me, but it's all about my appearance. You didn't care about what's inside me. I don't want someone like you, who enjoys making fun of others, to be the father of my child. Please marry me. Is that what you're like? Harada tried desperately to stop Moeka, but she gave us a shout and left the place with her footsteps ringing. Hiratani was staring at Moeka's back in a daze, and this time I spoke quietly to him. I think Manager Harada's wife is really beautiful and wonderful. In addition to her natural beauty, she makes an effort to maintain it. Harada just stared blankly at me when I suddenly started talking to him, but I think the most beautiful people are those with pure hearts. Unlike Japan, where there are no shortages, there are still many people in foreign countries who are struggling to make ends meet. People who don't even have a place to live, people who have no drinking water and have to live off muddy water. And children who are not even given the opportunity for an education and are forced to work. My wife, Miho, has been helping such people for many years, using her time and energy to help them. I find people like that attractive. I think she is more beautiful than any actress. I chose Miho as my wife because she thinks of other people's happiness as her own and can laugh with them. Harada looked down without being able to say anything in response to my words. My grandfather added insult to injury. You seem to be bragging about having a girlfriend in the company earlier, but I think we have a ban on girlfriends. I'll tell you more about it. Harada finally hid his face and crouched down after hearing my grandfather's words. After that, the scheduled time approached, and I went up to the men's room. Thank you for waiting, everyone. I looked around the venue and greeted the crowd, and the sound of applause filled with expectation enveloped me. Among them were Miho, my grandfather, my colleagues, and my subordinates, all looking at me with smiles. I felt warm knowing that everyone was welcoming me as the new president. The only exception was Harada, who disappeared without a trace as the ceremony progressed. In the end, Harada did not show up to work the day after the party ended. Apparently he had been informed that he was feeling unwell, but they were unable to determine whether he was really sick. The following week, an investigative committee was formed and interviewed my department. As a result, the selfish behavior that Harada had been carrying out up until that point was revealed. It seems that Harada had been harassing many of his subordinates in the same way that I had been harassed. Furthermore, it was discovered that he had joined the company as a coworker and even obtained a position, even though he had no track record, and he finally disappeared from the company. It was the 63-year-old Senbu who put Harada in this company. However, it turned out that Harada's father had taken care of him when he was young, and that he had forced Harada to join the company because he felt obliged to repay the favor. He took responsibility for this and left the company even though he was close to quitting. Although it was supposed to be a voluntary resignation, the content was almost like a long-term dismissal. I felt sorry because I hadn't intended to push him to eat at home, but it couldn't be helped because it was all Harada and the managing director's own actions. I just hope that he will reflect on this failure at his next job. Since Harada left, the employees have been working hard under the new boss who came to the office. My former colleague told me with a smile that as a result of the lack of stress, everyone's motivation has improved and their performance has improved. Meanwhile, as the new president, I am studying every day to become a person that my subordinates can rely on. Miho is now working at a large local hospital, making use of her experience abroad. We both have busy days, but seeing Emma working with a lively smile gives me motivation and energy just like when we were young. Miho, thank you for always being by my side. I am grateful to Tyra. You used to be such a crybaby. But now you protect me. I really rely on you. My husband. His words warm my heart. I once lost my family, but this time I was able to protect my own family. I took Miho's hand and once again told her how much I love her. I am standing here as the new president thanks to my grandfather and Miho, who have supported me in my life until now. For the sake of the employees who work at the company, I want to become a president who can consider the feelings of others. And I want to make the happiness of our customers and employees my own happiness and make the company grow even bigger. With this wish in mind, I looked up at the sky outside the window.